Let's talk about the concept at work within this article. I think that while this article brings out and stresses the notion of race, it is not the overarching concept. Race is not the overarching concept. I think the overarching concept is democratic practice and how to politic. In other words, he makes some interesting, comments, and I'll put them in my own word. For example, Obama, in the end, should not be judged entirely on the grounds of biology and culture. In other words, that to deem him a legitimate or an adequate leader for the black community should not be based on his skin color or whether or not he has a certain kind of bop when he walks or a certain kind of slur when he talks or certain gestures. In fact, I think Walters wants to make the case that we should look through a different lens. We should inspect his policies. Do they allow black people, in other words, the kind of freedom and resources to enable upward mobility? And so for him, he's looking at how a democratic society should function, and that any group that's marginalized or oppressed within such a society, they should find ways to move upward and find leaders who can help them move upward. So that is to say, there are two things. I think so when we talk about democratic practice here, Walters seems to make me think about two other concepts, and this whole idea of being self-directed and this notion of paying attention to public policy. So he is very much focused on how politics work, and that we should look at what Obama's doing in order to help African Americans, to allow them to be self-directed and by means of certain policies. He makes a case that blacks are affected disproportionately by certain policies, and then that should be what we judge Barack Obama by. So I'm just going to stick to that one concept, which I think pervades the article, and talk a little bit about what that means. What can we infer through looking through a lens of pure democratic practice and politicking, if I may. Well, Obama had to be cautious and to note that in order to be elected president, he had to appeal not just to African Americans but also to the other constituents of America, or white Americans, if you just want to put it plainly. And I think that Walters make a note that it's important for Obama not to appear like a black nationalist, and of course that's what he did, and he received a lot of heat from that from within the black community. A lot of people think of him as a traitor or someone who is too chicken to stand up for black people. But the whole idea is that we're dealing with a community with various groups, and it's important for people, everyone within that community, more or less, to be able to see President Barack Obama as someone adequate to lead in their behalf. So on these grounds, Obama's issue could be understood as stemming from the location of his politics. Okay, the issue of blackness in politics is embedded in the notion that Obama championed universal policies, and this is something that even one of our notable black intellectuals, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, charged Barack Obama on this notion that Obama wanted to create a tide so huge that it would lift all boats. But Michael Eric Dyson saw it differently. He has this argument that Barack Obama needed to find very specific policies and issues to lift boats, and he makes a case that some people don't even have boats. And so that's another way, we can see how Barack Obama was in big trouble when he tried to appeal to the entire population of the United States by saying, he wants to make things better for everyone without specifying certain groups who are disproportionately affected negatively. So this whole idea of racial neutrality is what Walters is showing could have been the downfall to Barack Obama's campaign. So let me just get into some concluding remarks and just make some more comments, and then I want to just start talking more freely about how I feel. This whole idea of the game of politics, I think Ron Walters bring out something very important, that Barack Obama and African Americans have to play this game of politics. And there are two questions that basically consist in the game of politics. One is, how many votes can you mobilize? And two, on what issue basis? In other words, Barack Obama, playing this game of politics, had to get as many votes as he could at the time, but he needed to find the right issues to get these votes. And he needed, obviously, a large number of them in order to one, win and beat out Hillary Clinton, and two, to overcome John McCain. And that means, when you're running against someone who is vying for the same group, for the same audience, you have to show that you are more likely to be effective. And you have to do that by bringing out the kinds of interests that people really, really, really want to hear. And on the other hand, people who are listening to different candidates have to say, well, this person seems to understand our problems and seem capable of making our problems go away. And once they make that choice, they will vote for a particular person. And in 2008, 2009, Obama was that person. And fast forward up to 2012, Obama was that person once again. So this is the game of politics that voters and politicians play. And when we talk about the politics of blackness, this is the kind of game that African Americans had to play. And so what that means is, in conclusion, very quickly, one, this whole idea of questioning Obama's identity was very much legitimate and necessary. And two, that we shouldn't go so far in trying to determine whether or not a person is for us or against us if they are a member of our group based on certain facial features or a certain set of experiences in their past. And finally, let me just bring out this one notion here, this notion of cultural and political blackness and as a category. Ron Walters, he makes a very controversial claim that there is a coherence to the category of blackness and it functions in the political sphere. I'll leave that one just the way it is right now. I wonder what you think about this, but it's going to come up in other articles, so I don't want to get into it. I want to keep it very short. But thank you for listening to this review here. There's much more that could have been said, but I just wanted to whet your appetite and get you thinking about the kinds of problems that Barack Obama had to endure, the kinds of problems that we want to see dealt with as well, because they bear on our lives. We want to know if a person is interested in doing their part and contributing to a better society on our behalf. It seems to debunk claims that race is not an issue when talking about President Barack Obama. Race is very much an issue. And not even necessarily a black and white issue alone. This is a black and black issue. Many black people are very skeptical of Barack Obama. And I can understand that by reading such an article. People want to know that this person see the world in the same way, and by that confirmation, they feel a little bit more safe as to whether or not this person could make things a little better. But we'll get back to such issues in the upcoming reviews. I'm looking forward to your comments and discussions on this review. Thank you, and bye.